Oh, listen, don't listen to the camera people when they're talking, because they're talking to the people in the control room. Just totally disregard them. Yeah, just totally disregard them.
Would it be a good policy of just trying to talk to the audience right now?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good evening from PAP, Public Access Poetry. Tonight we have two poets. First to read Neil Hackman, who's a poet living in New York City, who edits the poetry magazine Out There. Neil Hackman.
This poem is called For Rose on Bus to Florida. For Rose on Bus to Florida. Down you go past the red clay, down you go passing amber light cars. The lilacs are coming here, the highways have been swept, the stars bend a little. There are many circles in the night, many intangibles. I can see what I want, the doves of twilight to guide me, down through days of blue and gray. Where can we go? Where is it we are going? Everything unheard of, where is it? I'm leaning over my typewriter, looking at lamps in windows. Orange light emulates sun. Moon like a white hammock over the Caribbean. Down you go. The nighthawks are turning into orange blossoms. They are renaming everything so I can follow. The all-night trucks you imagine are wearing tiaras, and the slender orbits of vehicles more fantastic. Down you go, through the gamut of the lightning of spring. What do you want to find? Is it a fallen meteor? Or is it to be lost in the wavering light and to go with it, as to various poisons we abandon what we love? This poem is called Senorita de la Noche Luna, Lady of the Lunar Night. Rosita Fernandez, uncut diamond of darkness, my heart pleads with dawn, my words based on emptiness, my blood in your blood, and all is pure against your diaphanous nakedness. I will dream of you only when I see you no more. Rosita Fernandez, angel who appears, leave your vase of sadness and tears. Be lilac of Venus, violet of Mars, in the garden of night's drifting clockwork of stars. I will dream of you only when I see you no more. For love beyond all words I sing, it is only words for love I bring. Your heart tolls midnight from the steeple of noon. Your eyes are answers in the library of the moon. I will dream of you only when I see you no more. O Rosita Fernandez, when the stories of night have been told, demigods and men will still sing of love until neon in the morning grows cold. I will dream of you only when I see you no more. This is a poem about why I don't eat meat, and it's called Why I Don't Eat Meat. The vibrations of meat are gross. In death, the poisons of a lifetime surface. The animal has no thoughts except it is horrible to die. Dead meat cells weigh heavy on you. Living fruit cells never die. Let the sun and life force flow through me. Garlic that heals, onions that purify, ginger that strengthens, beets to cleanse, bananas that balance, grains that calm the nerves, and water. Hercules turns the river on the stables, cleanses as it goes. Old Chinese farmer eats brown rice, lives forever. I don't eat meat because you are what you eat. I don't eat meat because the eyes of the animals are innocent. Why kill civilized cows and pigs? Someday I'll show you how I tame the wild grasses. The sun is out and living things return as in spring to show us the way. I will be green leaf in the flowing instead of gray rock that sinks. Every act bears fruit. Nature is perfect, fruit is perfect. Apple trees trap wind, I eat the wind of apples. Roots tap the earth. Carrots point to the perfect center. The orchards and fields are boundless givers. There's blue water in the cold sky, and the black earth sustains us with all that is pure. O Tigris, O Euphrates. The sad cows look out from their enclosure. They don't know what's happening to them. They have no season, and there are no reasons given to them. The truck driver stops for a hamburger in the artificial neon meat light. The faces of the citizens are breaking out. The poisons are breaking out, but there is no escape. The citizens are clogged with meat. Eat starfruit and almonds instead of veal and pork. Meditate on the whiteness of tofu, the velvet darkness of grapes, honey, the nectar of the name. Listen, I tune into myself. I know what I'm doing. I have this feeling. I know what my body wants. It doesn't want meat. It doesn't want it at all. And this is called, I did a series of poems called Past Lives, and it was what I imagined other people to have been in their past lives. And this is one of them for Glenda. Glenda, I could not have looked for you in a room of clairvoyance at dawn when a continent of blue orchids wavers between the earth and something inarticulate in the mist. Our death has shown us this. It keeps a coffin in the snow, a warm bed, the sled we sleep on in etheric twilight, the same slow east side sun casting its bright lines onto the variegated wagons and windows of the poor. You were a Sicilian bride, dreaming of home, the far side. Your dark eyes an answer, seeing lemon trees instead of laundry drying in New York air. It didn't matter, you were beautiful there, and I can still see you looking out at the hustling city of afternoon, men walking back to a trance of rooms. You had 4 sons, your husband sharpened knives. You died of pneumonia at the age of 45. The window opened, the street grew mute, and the sun unrolled its green stairs of light for you. Death was an interlude. Your life was then shown to you by a compassionate and loving hand. Days split into long scenes. You saw there was more to do. You became you. And here are 2 poems. I took the Staten Island Ferry with 2 out-of-town poets who were friends of mine, and these are 2 poems that came out of those separate experiences. For Barbara Einzig, by my silver bracelet I am handcuffed to the sun. When in the gratuitous light I am found, perception is shivering, fierce wind from the sky, every display a duality in the endless stream. The Statue of Liberty in effusive green, as gray birds relax and glide of wind that is endless and ongoing. International orange of rails and water steel blue. Colors fuse and are their pure selves, in a day before night may wandering never cease. We are bathed in green light in our seats in a bus near Wall Street. Oh, sun, you must clearly define before Oriental Valentines. We evaluate ourselves as in our plain and straining poems. Men in dark times who must be loved, and ladies leaving with their backs to my heart who must be loved. We are the same. As wires bang my window in a dismal twilight where there is no sun, there is walking up the stairs to some higher. We are our poems in whatever state there is or are in. Next time I see you, it will be the most subtle, the most true. I am casual in my forever. I am walking the most direct to you. That all glass works together is a part of light. May light and air never cease, and eyes that look to me. And he who directs us to Union Square with him who I can't see. It is the end of afternoon, and there's this one music and this great longing behind every plan by me. We are rhythmic, even narcissistic in our essences. Even the poison air is a great stream, my body made of falling and freezing. And here, this is for Hank Cannabis, a Chicago poet. In the afternoon when greatness descends, we ride the Staten Island Ferry past Liberty's pale green goddess. The sun flares from a cornucopia of fire ships. Red helicopters and blue-winged albatrosses pose in flight, and ghost trains pulled by determined yellow tug. Oh, Jesus of boxcars, winter of sunlight on the water's iridescence. There is no time for news or complaints. We see lattice cranes on the shores of another state, and light on certain buildings resplendent in air, as the long waterfront beckons to fathomless depths, the long waterfront in the horizon stripped bare. Now twilight is sailing over the water's steel edge into the real world in which all things must fade, into the oblong universe out of which all things are made, to gamble with our senses moving clockwise on the deck, when in the moving twilight it is still beyond our art to know, and bus passing Oriental cinema, blood of the rose, as the discreet sun moves finally to another world. We see rush hours through the eyes of a Latin girl. I am neon's believer at beauty's command. From darkness's ambush at the end of deep breath I stand. We sing in traffic of clarity's birth. In our dark habits we wait to inherit the earth. Let's see here. This poem is called Saturday. It was written out of New York in a backyard in the summer. Saturday. sun-climbing tree, tea boiling in kitchen shade, drone of summer's dulcimer, how long will it last? I won't be here. The sagacious invisible wires to God reel me in. He moves the wind. The intense flowers are moved in their hearts by summer's clarity, shadow on paper of red felt pen, blue horizon from the back stairs, ecstatic and listless hour. The sun rushes up the spine, stars turn in the hourglass, Sirius, the ailanthus tree. I understand that he must break me. Can one understand trembling leaves? There are so many shades drawn to the fulcrum of empirical suns. It is Saturday, and the great dark constant I love. Here's a poem I just wrote the other night, inspired by a movie that was on TV about a man escaping from the police and everyone closing in. He's wounded, so he's having incredible visions. Poem. The newsboy sees me. The girl under the street lamp sees me. She illumines my heart with a sigh. Have you seen him, Queenie, this man who kills? Did she tell him I hide among dogs in the silence of doors in my ears, brooding joyfully, imperceptibly? You, detective, who would kiss my wounds with the crucifix of your lips, or betray me with the breath of a lynx, they are scouring the city for me, and my lover would come if she could, from her dilapidated heaven, outside a cordon of wars. It is snowing in Belfast. It is tolling for the silver Christ of the moon. The priest rattles his keys in the door. I, who walk in a fever of rain, sing above a mountain of clouds with the phoenix of brandy in my blood. Let me kiss something in your name. Let me feel the granular text of the dark. And who will be listening on heaven and earth when sleep is imminent and I cannot sleep? I walk outside to find you. My feet are burning, walking is empty. Not hurrying to explain, I would tell you everything. Not for you, but for you. I can't pretend I cannot see you who does not sleep in the world. I am mute, escaping. One lamp burns in tenements abandoned by sleep. Streetlights, angels in a rainbow of sweat. Where the moon, a telegraph of roses, has made my heart fanatic. Where the river bends, kissed by a landmark of trees. I will follow thee and pray. I am a fugitive in my night of vertical day. And I think this will be my last poem. It's for the poet Kevin Kline. I see you on a yacht, fishing for blue marlin in Floridian waters. Your glasses reflect a green gulf. Your new shirt depicts a more rarefied tropic. You daydream of lovers walking on the white shore. It is evening. Music drifts across the terrace where waiters cast shadows only in dreams to speak, a voice partly yours of the aristocratic South. The lovers get up to leave. You speak to them briefly of an endangered etiquette and of a sensibility it took years to perfect. You tell them that love has to be everything. They smile and leave you for the night shade of a banyan tree and the amber moon. By moonlight you write at a table of white lace with a glass of white wine by your right hand and a single rose in a vase. Later, you read your poem softly to a pre-dawn sky, how some men have loved enough to die, and of things beyond what reason can tell us. It is not hard to imagine the quiet traffic curving around the bay, or pedestrians staggering beneath a premeditated drunkenness only dawn dispels. Some are returning from married lovers, others, the beat cuckolds, have been playing all-night cards in the back room of the Rainbow Bar. The Latin ladies in crisp white are leaving to work at the hotel where the lovers are sleeping in each other's arms. The regal sun is now shining over the relaxed palms. Without knowing it, you wake. A blue marlin is tugging your line that love's sheer inertia will break. Thank you.
I neglected to mention, if we can have a close-up of this fantastic picture of Out There. That's the last poem that Neil read, I believe, is in this magazine. Our next reader is Janet Hamill, and she's the author of, I'm sure I'm going to say it wrong, Troublante, and the associate editor of Diamond Tea Press. Janet.
This first poem I'd like to read is from a book called The Book of Marvels. It's just like a statement on poetics. And in the beginning, the Word was made flesh, being torn of desert travel through the air veins of Tao's mutated virility and confluence of phallus vagina, and his poet's brain of music damned, and liberty perverted by chance, as flesh he spake, nothing to be true, and all perceived through the pores of hermaphrodite Hashishans. This next poem is, occasionally I like to write a poem to a hero, a poetic hero. This one in particular is to Edgar Allan Poe, and it's called The Extraordinary Death. Poe exploded into 1,000 pieces, the abominable atrocities of his mind, scattered and swallowed by vengeful birds, the angel hooked, the falcon hooded, his bones rocking the quiet of small coast towns, and a whirlpool, the rocks of ages split, to dig down and reverse the velocity, chemicals spin in a centrifuge, call stop, and the lid is hurled into space. Bone, china, luminescence, smooth white skin of an innocent, embalmed and rest in peace, the crows fly out of his skull. This next poem is from the book that I'm working on at the moment, called The Temple, and it's just about it's like life metaphorically as a temple, and the protagonist, in this case a heroine, entering the temple and being bombarded by life, more or less, so to speak. And this one is called Subterraneous. It was I wanted to write a real long poem about a passage into hell, and I just couldn't sustain it because it was just so intense, so I just left it as it is. It's like the entry into hell. Subterraneous. The heart thinks constantly, this can't be changed. Like a spaceship placed on automatic without control, me now like a shadow entering a valley of dissipated angels. Under a storm of red shifts and radio halos, the stars are transmitting into the mountains, the ceilings of mosques are crumbling before my eyes, and astrolabe drops like the intricate face of a wheel of fortune, and tigers and memories come through the wall with a fist. The battery sits like my soul gone dead before desire, the long green fingers of death creeping up behind my back somewhere in the depths of the earth where the fires of Mars are burning. My hair shirt hangs on a rack. This next poem is called Residencia en la Tierra, and the title is a direct steal from Neruda. That's the name of one of his books, and that's my little tribute to him. Microcosm, macrocosm, star, quasar, steady state, the iguana expanding through time, walking out of the sea onto the continent of South America in the 3rd year, inhaling the air, the humid seeping of time in the tropics. Steady state through the years, the unraveling ball, the constant inhaling of air, all the stored up knowledge in the lung cells of the first reptile. Low flame, the sun's intoxicating. Time is a delicate drug in Ecuador. Lazy, lack of movement, sunspots, every other century a vessel bursting. Debris, cracks, faults in the land. Peru is racked with earthquakes, restless shifting. The great bang explosion of the Andes overnight, catastrophic. A mere split on the side of iguana, a jolt to his grip, his gears, his procession over the continent. Pulling his belly along the ground, he just wants to make love. But they eat him like chicken and split him in two, so matter reduces to matter, and the rains are strange in the Amazon, the river of reptiles. This next poem is like a semi-tribute poem too. This time it's to Vladimir Mayakovsky, and the title is The Tragedy of Janet Hamill, and that was inspired by a play of Mayakovsky's called The Tragedy of Vladimir Mayakovsky. Strangled. Vladimir, oh Vladimir, it's all still a stinking mess. 60 years later, I'm so hungry. What would fill me? Nothing less than a leap at you into heaven, springing off a diving board like Kamensky's plane. Roger, over and out. Come, we'll have a chat. I'll be devoured by your words. Shameless enough I am to soak like a bone in your alphabet soup. Oh, Vladimir, my hole's so big, and all remains a stinking mess like futurism. I could declare it myself with a kick in the pants. You swam in them, the winds of change, and now what's left, what's fixed? Nothing remains but restlessness. I know, had I known you, I'd have loved you. Had I money, I'd have fixed your teeth selfishly to run my tongue along the keys, the portal to your heart. Oh, bashful precursor, I want to make it bare, undisciplined lightning strike, but Vladimir, the restlessness, enormous hole that it is, still so hungry. Okay. This next poem, it's not really a poem. It's I tried to experiment with prose poems, whatever, because I was just getting a little too intense, you know, and I thought that if I worked with a more prosaic language, it would make me feel a little more tranquil inside. And this is just a transcription from a travel journal of mine. I was in Ethiopia, and this is called Ethiopia, which is Ethiopia in French. And this is from my friend Patty. Arrived in Axum around noon and checked into the Queen of Sheba hotel. I was dying for a cup of coffee just to get the blood circulating. We'd been riding since 6 a.m. through the cold, muddy towns of the mountains. There were monkeys. Behind every tree I could see them, running for shelter from the rain, falling on the roof of the bus in the village. I tried to overlook the sickness in the eyes, caked with an excrement of flies. The market was small, and the women sat beneath umbrellas. All the grains were spread out on blankets, saffron, dried red peppers and salt, like pools of light in a landscape without any sun. The boys walked closely behind me, wrapped in shrouds, carrying crosses made out of stone in their hands. All the mud washed down from the monasteries, I think. I wanted the one around his neck, and he offered to give it away as a gift if I promised to send him a dictionary. From Addis Ababa, I assumed there were bookstores. In the hotel, I felt an urge to repack all the luggage. I was ashamed of the equipment and supplies we were procuring, all the jewelry and the baskets. In the sack, I saw a spider. There were voices in the rooms off of the courtyards, laughing, whores and thieves deported from Sudan. The night was coming. I could feel it, the cold, wet dampness and the rain seeping through the walls. We took a walk into the village. The night was coming, the cold, wet dampness, with the rain illuminating his hair. Facile took my hand and led me down into the tombs. We were standing on the platform of Axum, Stella falling all over the grounds as the moon was receding. He took my hand and led me down into the tombs. With his matches and newspaper torches, the ceiling ignited like so many faces of angels. And this is the last poem I had planned to read. So here it goes. This is the most recent poem I've written too. It's a poem in 3 parts, but I'm not gonna stop for the parts because it would really just interrupt the flow. And it's a poem called The Water Tower, and this is from my friend Kevin. In ancient China, they used to dream of oceans where the rivers came together. They could close their eyes and see the mountains. In the middle of the lightning, there was something vast and frightening. In the way it withheld its identity, they thought it was withholding all of its secrets, like the eyes of a mare, screened behind her blinders in a field of restive horses, hearing the voices of violent currents of air, breathing through the cinematic movements of Pegasus. The need, I was feeling the thirst for a twin, to come and heal the schizophrenia in my bloodstream, the bedspreads of urgent evenings, dreaming recurring patterns of disturbing animals, an oracle, the spotted cats and the Sphinx with her entourage of childlike hermaphrodites trying to speak of you now. I think of water and the human angel of Albert Lamourisse's Fifi La Plume riding bareback over the screen. The harmonic tremors were indecipherable. I couldn't hear the earthquakes coming or the oil wells drilling. My spine anesthetized mirrors trying to summon the muse had not as yet made itself human or understandable. Glimpses of someone standing beside me with wings. The wind pushed the door wide open. There was a water tower at the end of the field. The archer dismounted and started walking towards me with vessels of water like songs in ancient China. The wells were overwhelming my desk and all the paper on it, absorbing moisture like the dry roots of a jungle plant misplaced in a desert. He fixed his eyes upon me, implying the storm in his mind. A 500-year-old red cloud in the atmosphere of Jupiter pigmented his pupils like the man who fell to earth. He was falling into my arms, a comet showering over the deck of an ocean liner. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
From PAP, Public Access Poetry. I don't know if they said anything. I guess this is almost over. Okay, 15 seconds. Let me just say, smile. Just say that PAP is co-produced by Danny and Gary and myself, and that's it. Good night. All right. I'm very bit.